So if God is in a courtroom, if prayer is a courtroom word, as I described last time, then what we do in prayer is we go before the court. We go before the judge to make our pleas. Okay? This is what priests do. In the Hebrew scriptures, the Levites, I want to read you, I'll just cite these. In Deuteronomy, where we go? Deuteronomy, oh my goodness, I can't find it right now. Here it is, Deuteronomy 21:5. The Levites were to judge the cases. I forget how it's worded in our English Bible. It might be settle the cases. But the judges, the Levites were to do that. In Ezekiel 44:24, in the new temple, which we don't know when that's going to be, because there's 7 chapters in Ezekiel describing this new temple that's never been built. It's different dimensions and stuff. God says the priests who are going to minister to me in this new temple are the Zadok, line of Zadok, because they did not stray from me as the Levites did, which you can see in 2 Kings 23, where Josiah had to go cleanse the temple from the Baal worship. Levites, a lot of them went astray and worshiped Baal, set up temples to Baal, etc. in the north. But God is saying about the Zadok priesthood, that they're going to judge but in the disputes or the cases. It's another courtroom where the judges, the Zadok line will judge the cases of the people. So we, as priests, are judges also. We arbitrate. We arbitrate. A judge is just someone who brings the law forward and says, this is what the law says. Okay? There's a prayer word that's used in Genesis 20, verse 7. This is the palal that I spoke about. It means to judge, arbitrate, mediate. When Abimelech took Sarah, Abraham's wife, thinking that was Abraham's sister, he took her into his home. Then that night the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, you're a dead man because you've taken this man's wife. And he said, I know you did it in innocence, but what you need to do now is go give her back and go to Abraham and say, and ask him to pray for you, because he is a prophet and he will pray for you and you will be acquitted. Now that word prayer there is this word that means to arbitrate, mediate, judge, pray, palal. Another example is Phinehas. The judge Phinehas, the Levite Phinehas, when he went and, I say judge because he judged, he went and intervened, that's the same word, palal, in the temple when the Israelite took a Moabite woman in there, and in Numbers 25, you can read about that. He's praised for this act in Psalm 106, verse 30. It says, Phinehas intervened and the plague was stopped. Now, I mentioned in the prayer video yesterday that Aaron took incense and stood between the dead and the living when the plague broke out among the Israelites because they complained against God's anointed. Does this sound familiar? God's anointed was Moses in the nation of Israel at that time. I believe President Donald Trump is God's anointed in the nation of America. And actually, he's anointed for many nations, because you look at how many nations are following his lead now. He's a modern-day Cyrus, Isaiah 44 and 45. Anyway, y'all know that, some of that stuff. But for the people complaining against God's anointed, this plague came. And again, why did the plague come? It wasn't that God likes to destroy people. God is not a destroyer. He is a life giver. But if there is an opening, if there is sin, then Satan automatically has a right to bring in all kinds of calamity. That's what that's when these plagues happened in Israel. You remember, and this is so fascinating today, I was looking at when David a word. I was looking for the word judge and mediate. I was looking for a word about a case, any kind of courtroom word, and I found in 1 Samuel 24:15, David is saying to the Lord, wait a minute, I think he's saying this to Saul, but it was about his relationship to Saul. He said, plead my case. If I'm innocent, let me be acquitted. I'm going to look that up because this is important. 1 Samuel 24:15. 1 Samuel 24:15 says, therefore let the Lord be judge, and judge between you and me, and see, and plead my case, and deliver me out of your hand. He was talking to Saul, because Saul had chased him down, right? Okay, when I was looking at this and trying to see whether this was the same word as the case and the judge that I'm giving you here, I was looking in Blue Letter Bible online, and I accidentally wrote 2 Samuel 24:15, and you can't believe what it is. This is God. 2 Samuel 24:15 is where the plague had happened because of David's sin. The plague had started because David sinned, and Nathan came to him and said, or Gad, I'm sorry, and said, well, the Lord said, you can choose between how you want God's judgment to come because of your sin. And he said, I'll be put at the mercy of God. So God sent a plague. But this is interesting. 2 Samuel 24:15, which I ended up at Blue Letter Bible this morning. So the Lord sent a plague upon Israel from the morning till the appointed time, from Dan to Beersheba. 70,000 men of the people died. So it says the Lord sent a plague. Well, the Lord gave him a choice. Do you want me? You want my judgment? Do you want an enemy to come against you? Because the sin had to be atoned for, right? But this is interesting because it's the same. 1 Samuel 24:15 is what I wanted, but the Lord took me to this. And it says, the plague was on Israel from the morning till the appointed time, from Dan to Beersheba. Now, Dan means judge. Beersheba is the 7 springs. From Dan, from the judgment to the 7 springs, which a spring of life. I thought that was interesting. Dan means judgment. Daniel means God is my judge. There's the courtroom scene in Daniel. There's just so much in here. That's all for this video. I've gone too long now. Thank you.